Hi, this is Jeff Kober, and we welcome you to Disney Insights. The Disney Destiny is Disney's newest ship here in the Western Hemisphere. Recently, I had an opportunity to meet up with the entire Zanolla family. I often promote David Leah as being really the best travel agent out there. So very much because they truly know Disney near and far and globally. I use their services not only to book our own family's trips, but a number of groups that I've hosted in our programs and workshops that I've delivered. Today we get insights from them, not just them, but their three children, who offer not only insightful impressions, but candid remarks about what they truly enjoy as a family when on a Disney cruise. Moreover, it's just fun banter as we talk about not only the ship, but the entire Wish class of ships that have been built recently. Disney Destiny is it's at the crest of a large wave of development and implementation in the cruise ship industry. So join us as we offer a family of insights with the Disney Destiny. This podcast is produced by myself and Performance Journeys, which offers training, development, and consultant support to organizations big and small and entrepreneurs new and established. With a wide variety of resources and long-time in-the-trench experience, we offer workshops, online learning, coaching, and more to organizations that want to build their teams, raise organizational excellence, improve leadership, and create customer loyalty. So check us out at performancejourneys.com. As with our podcast, be sure to check out our website, disneyinsights.com, where we offer key points, photos, videos, links, and more. Note that our YouTube channel, Disney Insights, also carries our podcast. So please subscribe to Disney Insights YouTube page because it will be more a part of our social media strategy moving forward. We appreciate all that you do to help be a part of Disney Insights. So before we get actually to the interview with David Leah and their kids, I want to talk a little bit about the Disney Destiny and give a little bit of overview if you're not familiar, particularly not just what the ship is, but how it contrasts with other ships, particularly in the Wish class. This is a Wish class type of ship. The first two was the Magic and the Wonder, and then there were two others that followed about 10 years later, the Dream and the Fantasy, and then there was a Wish class of ships. This is the third. The first was the Disney Wish, the second was the Disney Treasure, and this is the Disney Destiny. There's also the Disney Adventure, which has just set sail over in Singapore, and there's more ships on the horizon. But this is part of a Wish class set of ships, and that's important because some of the things they mention are not what they like or are frustrated about the Disney Destiny per se, but is actually what they're frustrated or what they really like about the Wish class ships themselves. This is the seventh ship that was launched. Its maiden voyage was November 20th of 2025, not more than about 6 months ago. The theme here is heroes and villains. And by the way, let me just talk a little bit about that because while there are some architectural representations done in different ships that make them a little bit different, the first two ships really were very similar to each other in many ways, and the second two ships were very similar in many ways. In fact, I've been on the Fantasy and the Dream many, many, many times, and I couldn't really say which ship does this or which ship does that. They're both fantastic ships, but they are very comparable. With the Wish class of ships, they've decided to more approach some kind of theme. In the first two ships, that theme kind of was like a theme park theme. The Disney Wish, was really more of a Fantasyland princess type castle theme. The second ship that followed, the Disney Adventure, really took on more of an Adventureland type style. In this case, with the Disney Destiny, we're not talking about Adventureland or Tomorrowland or Fantasyland. we're really actually talking about a theme that's about heroes and villains. And that really stands out when we hear from David and Leah and their family. I think that helps to better appreciate why they see this ship on the way they do. The bow character is Minnie Mouse. The stern characters is Spider-Man and some spider bots. When you enter the Grand Hall, you have a Black Panther theme with a statue of Black Panther, T'Challa, and above it all, a vibranium chandelier that changes colors and so forth as different characters enter into the hall and into the stage area. Their Aqua Mouse water coaster, which has been, there are water coasters on the Dream and the Fantasy, but the Wish class have had something more akin to a theatrical cinematic experience as you go on the water coaster. In this case, the theme or storyline here is called Sing a Silly Song, and it features Disney villains such as the Queen of Hearts and Scar. There is a key entertainment hub on the ship called Saga. There is 3 rotational dining experiences, 1923, which can be found on the other 2 Wish-class ships, Worlds of Marvel, which can also be found on the other 2 Wish-class ships. But they'll talk a little bit about how it's a little different there on the Destiny. And then the third one is Pride Land's Feast of the Lion King. The previous Treasure had a Coco theme. The one previous to that had a Frozen theme. Here we have a Lion King kind of theme going on with that. They'll talk a lot about that. Then we have some very unique spaces, and they really set up this heroes and villains type thing. There is DeVille's Piano Lounge, where you often find Cruella DeVille hanging out. You have 2 cafes, Cafe Merida, Cafe Mega, based on Brave and Hercules. You have the Sanctum, which is based or themed around Doctor Strange. You have Edna Alamode's Suites, based on the character from Incredibles. And then you have the Cask and Cannon, which is themed to Pirates of the Caribbean, as well as the Haunted Mansion one which was also played out on the Disney Treasure. In many of these spaces, there are very different, very unique, interactive character moments, which I think really serves to define, well, what this experience is on the Disney Destiny. The ship introduces kind of a meet and play type experiences, such as the Wretched Runway with Cruella DeVille, or an intimate parlor encounter with Dr. Facilier. Other Marvel characters show up and take over the Grand Hall. These are really signature experiences, and I think a couple of weeks ago I likened it, or maybe I do in this interview, I liken it to kind of the interactive experiences you had on the Star Wars Intergalactic Star Cruiser. Finally, there are 3 Walt Disney Theater shows. Disney Sees the Adventure, which is on both the Treasure and the Wish as well. And then you have Frozen, and which is on, I believe, the Dream as well, but it might be the Fantasy. I can't remember which. And then a unique show in and of itself, which is Hercules. And they'll talk a little bit about those 2 shows. Our podcast shares some really wonderful moments between Leah and David, plus their 3 amazing kids, Jacob, Jonah, and Lydia. We recorded the interview at the Odyssey during the Epcot Flower and Garden Festival. This is not an ideal place to record. In fact, I wanted to record, but we really hadn't talked about where we would do that formally, or how that might come about. It just sort of started happening, and then I recorded it wearing Meta glasses, so which allowed me to kind of record on the fly, and that created a whole bunch of banter you're kind of hearing about throughout the interview. Have I, signed the rights to you having this and all this kind of thing? A lot of fun banter that you'll hear. And also, I want to do a shout out, by the way, to our great our friend Brian, who also kind of helps support the interview. He's kind of a little bit heard in the background. So without further ado, we're going to go through these different sections, and you're going to kind of see how the family experienced the Disney Destiny.
I'm here to live at Epcot, but yeah, so there's just, it feels like there's nowhere to just exist. It feels like you're rushing between places, and all of the clubs, it's like there's always stuff going on, which is fine, but it's like on the other ships for like a trivia, right? They're always in D Lounge or whatever. I could be like, I'm 5 minutes before I'm gonna go decide I'm gonna go do a trivia. Whereas here, I have to like show up 15 minutes early to make sure I get a seat, because all the seats are always filled because there's just not enough seating, it feels like. And so you're amazed. And it's a maze, kind of, but it just feels like an undertaking to do anything. I don't like the 2 elevator bays. I want a forward, midship, aft, not just a midship and an aft. It's horrible, and I really don't like it. But it's just, yeah, basically, it takes more planning because I have to be like 15 minutes ahead of time. I'm gonna go as soon as something is done to try and get a seat, 15 minutes in advance of the next thing, because otherwise there's not gonna be anywhere for me to sit. Whereas I feel like that issue is just not as commonplace on the other ships.
We also miss the open deck, being able to walk all the way around. He and I would go walk after dinner.
On the like running track.
Yeah.
You did this every day?
We typically would walk,
Often, like before the show, and you can't do it anymore. You've got to do stairs, and it doesn't go all the way around anyway. It ends. So it's not handicapped accessible because you can't go all the way around. And
But this is a fault of the Wish, not
the
Wish
Wish
class,
class.
as opposed
Yeah.
to the fault of the Destiny.
correct. Yes.
I forgot there's like a recording limit, isn't there?
There is. How astute.
It's just made for Instagram.
It only lasts for 83,000 minutes.
Well,
Just like the wind on the Destiny.
yeah,
But-
write that down.
I've never had my glasses fly off on a cruise ship, though.
Haven't
Unlike
been on
some
the
people's
Destiny.
pepperonis.
Lydia's
That was really depressing.
Yeah, I had a piece of bacon fly off during breakfast yesterday, so flew off the back of the ship.
Wow.
My glasses were on my head. And
There are some grateful sea life out
You're
there.
in the ocean now?
no,
there was a whole table during breakfast yesterday that got picked up and blown off of the back of the ship. I watched it. I own 2 eyes camera. Are you for real?
No, not
The
really.
table just lifted up like that.
Really?
Stood there for a second, and then gone.
Like the force.
Wild.
That wasn't Inner Sanctum?
Nope, just a table.
It was in the mirror
Just a
dimension.
table at Marceline Market. Through the wall.
We were playing
It went through the wall.
Wow.
Wild. Wild.
It's like this, and then there's like a pile in the middle, and we're all just like this.
This is the time of year when it's a little windier. Though actually, this was the smoothest sailing we've ever had.
So, David and Leah didn't like Hercules too much. What was your review of Hercules?
I would never go again. That's for sure. He asked, and I said that you guys hate it. Despise it. We're sure.
It was good, but it was really cringy, as they all are.
Oh,
but
he
this
is.
one was
He is
excellent.
All
he's in a
shows-
different generation.
All shows are good, but cringy?
I was gonna say, will you please explain
Awkward?
cringy to him?
Awkward.
He doesn't know what cringy means.
I do know what cringy
I
means.
don't know about that.
No, that's why I never share a room with you. Okay? What? But you did say you liked the Frozen show.
I didn't see the Frozen show. She saw it.
Loved it.
Wasn't cringy.
No, it was fantastic.
Good. It's on another ship. I can't remember which.
It's on the
Yeah,
fantasy.
we
right?
Dream?
feel like we've seen it, but
I think
this,
it's on the fantasy.
I don't remember the puppets or the trolls. I feel like we remember the
Yeah, the
troll
trolls
show.
were like, they looked like pajamas.
It was like wearing a rug as a cape. It was
Like,
good. Yeah. The Frozen show was fantastic.
Yeah, Hercules was just really cheesy,
Yeah.
which is fine, but it was cheesy in a bad way.
I think our expectations were too high.
Yeah,
That's too bad. Compared to Moana, which you really both love.
it was good.
And to be fair, everybody else in the theater seemed to love Hercules, so maybe it was just us.
So what about the Lion King dining experience?
I think so. We have yet to get a good table for any of the shows because that's the same thing as Arendelle, and so again, not the fault of the Destiny specifically, but for the Wish, the treasure or the destiny, because it's like the stage is in the middle and it's tiny, then you have this giant square, and then you have like a jut out here, then you have a square. So like basically, unless you're here, you can't see anything. We thought that the audio mixing was better on the destiny, because previously like the music was so loud you couldn't hear anything. This at least you could hear things, but it's like you're very crammed in, and so it's so loud because like what you had said, I think, is that in a bunch of the other ones they're kind of separated into little rooms. Like on 1923 there's like all the little like half walls kind of
Yes.
separated. So
Compartmentalized.
Or
Yeah.
like Animator's palette has carpet.
yeah.
So like absorbs the
Whereas
sound.
in The Lion King, and again, and kind of in the other two, in Arendelle and Coco, it's just constantly loud and you can't hear yourself
One
think.
giant room full
It's
of
just
all
one giant room full of people talking loudly for the entire
I mean, the singing
time
was
of
great.
dinner. Yeah, the show's fine.
Yeah.
It's
and
just
actually on
hard
the
to pay
Destiny, the
attention
Lion
to.
King show went for most of dinner, the singing. The others, it's much shorter.
Yeah.
In other words, the show element is much longer with The Lion King.
Yeah.
Yes, and I don't know if there was a story, if
mean
there was,
No, it wasn't.
like throughout more of dinner.
Oh, Arendelle went. They came back
Do you
like
think?
2 or 3 times over.
Maybe
Well,
I just
but-
Well, but they also do that in Rapunzel.
Characters.
So
versus-
here's my thinking on this, though. Although not all you really are only getting a few perfect tables, admittedly, and it's a it's not a raffle, but it's a luck of the lottery as to how you get that. But I go back to the days of karaoke's, and that was a lame restaurant. If you can go back that far in your mind, it would just,
Yeah.
it was just a restaurant, and Pirate Night only made it worse.
Yeah, but Hoop-de-Doo Review isn't going to work and isn't going to sell tickets if your table is in a place where you can't see anything going on the stage, but the noise is still happening around you, and you can hear it, but you can't see it. What's the point? Why am I spending the money to go there?
That's fair. That's a fair comment.
Yeah, I mean, because the singing was great.
It was great. No, it was great.
We have not been fortunate enough yet to be in a spot where we can actually see. And same thing in the Rapunzel. Is that on the Magic? In the Rapunzel restaurant, we were all the way at the back, and we're not in a massive party of people, so I don't know why we're always in the back. But so we can never actually see the show. So I'm sure other people like it.
Because
We just
people like
haven't.
this put out podcasts with our opinions, and then Disney Cruise Line clocks us ahead of time.
But
Says,
then,
stash these morons in the back.
they discount those ships, and I can go on the ship. Okay,
Like
He's shorting.
like the Wish.
like I wish the wish. That's coming. Trust me, I may be calling really soon on that. How about this Marvel thing? Is it the same on all the 3 Wish ships?
No, it's the same. So there's a show that you get on the Wish, because you only get the Marvel Restaurant show once. Then on the Treasure, there's the show from the Wish. So like A show, B show. You get the A show on the Wish. You get the A show and the B show on the Treasure. You get the B show on the Destiny.
And on the
Got it.
Destiny and the Treasure, you get trivia.
They added it on the Wish.
As their B show?
B show.
Yeah.
As the B show for that ship.
Yeah. Yes, I'm sorry. I really enjoyed that, and it lasts for quite a bit.
But you people love trivia.
Correct. Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
I get that. That's that you have about this improvisational conversation that
Oh, sure.
not being recorded.
Actually, I do have some thoughts since you asked. So, Jonah, I'm fairly certain that you just read 1984 by George Orwell, which is about technology invading our lives and imposing itself in
Endless
places
surveillance.
where imposing
The
itself where it
telescreens.
probably doesn't belong, and the implications that could have on us as a society, losing our independence, losing our ability to have opinions without them being recorded and transmitted and broadcast. Why don't you share a little bit about
I
that?
see. No, hold on.
Excuse me, would you
I
mind?
see your
Wouldn't
point.
you- wouldn't-
I see your
wouldn't
point, but
share a
only
little-
because I'm wearing metas.
Wouldn't you share a little bit about the
I mean,
commentary
Mark
that
Zuckerberg
book
has a
makes?
track record, so. There's
I
that.
think we have water here. Probably.
Does anybody want any? I'll get you some. There's still festival foods.
Do you think they have soda? Maybe for it? Probably not. Can I get a water though?
Not when they're going to charge $7 for it if you buy it new.
You can ask.
Festival Foods is on all of them. Festival Foods is great for lunch. I don't ever go to Marceline Market because why would I?
We do wish it was open later. It closes at 6.
Is Marceline Market just
Cabanas.
worse than Cabanas?
Yes, I would say so.
What do you mean worse?
Well, I mean,
Worse.
I've heard, is it just that the Festival of Food's so much better that nobody wants to go to?
Yeah.
But what about
Yeah,
breakfast? You
yeah,
don't
but
have
I-
Festival of Foods for
No,
breakfast.
but I will also tell you, I don't know that there's ever ridiculous lines for festivals. Like, I never waited more than 1 or 2 people to get barbecue at Festival of Foods.
Though for some of the other ones, for like a burger or tacos, there was sometimes around 10 people in line, but it moves quick.
So
Yeah.
Marceline Market and Cabanas are just busy and stressful. And so when there's the option of Festival of Foods where we don't have to stand in line for
With better food.
ever, or with, there's always little kids running around and you're afraid you're going to drop your tray or your food, which is understandable, but when there's another choice, we pick the other choice just because it's a little bit less stressful.
You heard it here first. Leah hates children.
I did not say that at all.
He's got it on recording, actually.
He's not even being inconspicuous about it. because everybody just walks around like this with a light on their glasses.
You can get it removed.
Wasn't that chapter 5 of 1984?
I think it was 6.
Anyway, what were you going to say?
That the food at Festival of Foods is really good. I just wish it was open later than 6 o'clock.
So that is a problem. That's a problem with food on the ship.
Pizza is
It's-
open until midnight.
There just aren't any options on any of the ships really after 6, other than going to the main dining spaces. The pizza place will usually stay open on the
We've gotten after dinner. We've had like
So on the
Well, you go to the club
on
thing.
The, well,
No,
that,
on
they
the
don't have that.
pool
There's no food anymore. But on the Dream class, they had the chicken strips and brats and hot dogs and
And
burgers.
french
That was
fries.
open until like 10 o'clock, I
Or
think, or
later.
so. It is not. I don't think they're open that late now.
Oh really?
I don't believe they're
Burgers
open.
Yeah.
and stuff close at
They close much earlier.
So on the Wish class, there's just the pizza open late, and it's open
ice
till
cream
midnight.
closes at 10.
Yeah.
And then
pizza closes at
right.
midnight. Yeah.
Yeah, and that nighttime buffet that it comes out at 10:45 on the older ships is not on the new ships.
And there's a demand for it. Like I waited, it was 11:55, and there were like 8 people in line for pizza.
Yeah, the
and so it's
pizza's
like
always
there's
busy.
demand for food that late.
Well, and you know
It's
how
just
in
pizza.
the Dream and the Fantasy, there's the like the little coffee bar on like deck 4 or 5, kind of in that main atrium area, and you can pay for your fancy coffee, but they also have like little desserts that you can kind of get.
Yes.
None of that. There's none
Yeah,
of
we
that.
just
Your
sort of
only
realized
option
that
for those
this
little
time.
snacky desserts is up in Marceline Market when they're open. So if you feel like a little snack, you get out of a show, or you're like, oh, I just got out of trivia, or I went to watch the silent DJ or karaoke, and I like to kind of satisfy my sweet tooth with a little, whatever, a piece of cheesecake or a tart or something. Nothing.
So probably better for us.
Probably better.
And I'm trying to find something to do after 10 o'clock, and there's the one, still recording. There's the one.
It's not just talk to him like the glass.
This is not like you're going to talk about having your first drink. Keep going.
There's this one, like the one adult activity, whatever it is, game show, whatever. That's it. Basketball court closed. Every single pool closed. The whole adult area, adult pools, the 18 plus area.
After
all of
10,
that-
yeah.
All of that is closed. People do not go to bed at 10 o'clock. Like on cruises, people are not going to bed at 10 o'clock. The whole point is you stay up a little later. It's vacation.
Yeah.
Sure, some people may go to bed earlier, but the fact that I can't even go to the adult pool past 9:30, 10 o'clock.
That's like that at dinner or at the show or.
I think this happens on all the ships because it's a family style cruise ship, and they just don't have that much demand. But some of my favorite moments are into the evening, and you're just watching the movie outside by the pool and that type of thing.
Quite a bit, Jacob.
I think I watched 4 or 5 movies on television, about one a day. And like at night, like last night, they had Star Wars 5, but they didn't start until 10:30, so it didn't end until 1 a.m.
Yeah, they do that a lot.
Which, that was dumb because I'm like, you show this any other night, I'm staying up the whole time. But I made sure to take advantage of plenty of the movies. Like they had Civil War, they had like Monsters University, they had What was the one before that?
Monsters University, which is one of Jacob's favorite Pixar movies.
It's a good film. The Incredibles, like they had some good movies that I watched. They had A Bedtime Story yesterday, classic. Adam Sandler, classic.
On the old ships.
Are you like
is there
resetting your litmus test of what Jacob's taste
one
is
movie theater?
in good movies when he says?
No, I'm
Monsters
determining whether or not I want to cut it after your snort.
No, you can leave that in there. That's fine. I haven't given permission for any of this to go live.
You were going to say
I'm
something.
pretty sure Florida is only a one-party consent state. Are there? Is there only one movie theater on the old ships?
Yes.
Okay, so there's two small ones on the Wish class.
Right,
I
you have more
really
choices.
like that because I went and saw Tron Ares, and it's like there's usually like a Marvel type one, and then there's like they kept playing Zootopia 2, or like there's like a kids one, and so I liked that there was the option of not just having one. Like I like the double the choices, but that's not Destiny specific.
But why wasn't there a wider variety of movies? Like they own
I
the
don't
whole
know.
catalog. Why don't they show Iron Man?
Yeah,
Why don't they
I
show Black Panther? Like why don't they?
Sound of Music.
I'd watch it. You know, like why don't they show some of these?
Yeah, there were no good movies in the theaters.
Why not? I mean, it was Fantastic Four. It was
Thunderbolts.
Elio,
Lilo and Stitch was in the theaters again, I think.
Lilo and
Zootopia 2 a
Stitch,
bunch,
Zootopia 2,
and Tron.
and Tron Ares. Kind of duds.
Okay, I'm going to finish with one last question. So you had mixed experiences with the ship. How was the experience as a family?
What do you mean by that?
Did you enjoy being with these other people?
Can you turn off the camera?
Jonah.
I'm kidding.
No, it was good.
I think it was good, but again, it felt like there were so many more 18 plus only events that like there were a lot of things that we didn't go to with Lydia because we were going to the adult like half the trivias we wanted to go to and stuff were adults only or the game shows, which is fine, but it made it so we had to kind of have two things. We were going to separate things more, I think. I don't know, even more than the Wish and the Treasure, I thought.
Well, I think they're adding more adult trivia,
Which I don't think
to
is a
have
bad
more
thing.
adult offerings. They are not adult content,
Yeah.
just adult ages, so that we know that there aren't going to be
3-year-olds
small
running
children.
around.
What I understood was they took some of the elements of the Star Wars Intergalactic Star Cruiser in the sense of improvisational activities that kind of thread throughout the experience. And with the storytellers embedded that in.
There were several of those. What was the Wakanda?
The
band?
Sounds of Wakanda?
Sounds of Wakanda. Yeah, it was
They had
a
like a little.
drummer and stuff in the Grand Hall.
then they
I mean, I would say the service of the crew is the best we've gotten in close to a decade, probably.
So the service is always high, but you're saying
And
it
this
was
was
above and beyond.
This was different. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
It was a great cruise. It was 5 nights, which we always would love a longer cruise if we could, but 5 nights is a good,
Sweet spot.
yeah, it's a good sweet spot. 2 days at sea, which is nice to have, so we could relax. So, yeah, we had a great time. We didn't dislike the Destiny, it's just not our favorite.
You just deserve our honesty, because if you were recording us against our will, you would want us to tell you we're not okay with that.
I'm
and-
okay with it, for the record. I don't care.
And you?
I like what Jonas said about I think it was different because I wasn't in any of the adult clubs or in any of the kids clubs.
We were asking whether you were okay about me recording this.
Oh no, I thought you were still on the family thing. No, I never gave my consent, but oh, well. If I get monetization over it, then I'm
As soon as I get some, I'll give you some. And we're going on that treasure.
To the adventure.
Speaking of the treasure, it's our favorite of the wish class.
Yeah.
Mine's
maybe.
the
I
Wish.
don't know.
My sincere thanks to David Leah and their children for joining us for this podcast. It's a little crazy sounding at times, but you could sense the fun of our conversation, and they offer really great insights into whether or not you would want to enjoy the Disney Destiny. And by the way, I hope, if nothing else, you have come to realize that when you're planning your next trip, you really do need to reach out to David or Leah with Zanolla Travel, because they know Disney in ways few do, and they can make your next trip on land or sea or wherever an exciting one, and certainly a lot stressful. It doesn't cost anything. You want to reach out to them to explore your next vacation, whether it's a Disney theme park experience or a cruise or adventure by Disney. You will save enormous time getting all of the details right. And again, it doesn't cost you to utilize their services as a travel agent and their insight. You can rest assured you're going to end up experiencing the best trip possible. So reach out to Zanolla Travel, which is in our show notes page, both on DisneyInsights.com and for this podcast. Now, for the last couple of weeks, we've been talking and I've been sharing stories of Disneyland over, the last year. And in the process of this, has created a new online tool for all of you to explore. It's called Disneyland Insights, Inspiration, Ideas, and Magic for you and your organization. And it's an interactive multimedia experience. This is truly designed for those who are seeking to find new ideas that will guide you to providing individual and organizational leadership excellence, in creating employee engagement, and building a tremendous team culture, and then offering a superior customer service. You will see insights, this content through example stories and models play to all these themes, but each section provides a souvenirs for you and your organization. They're reflective questions that may be used to better the work or operation you may be leading or being a part of. And in that instance, it's more of a business focus. In fact, many may utilize funding set aside for their organization for training and development. So make sure you check out our show notes page. Check it out. Disney Insights, Inspiration, Ideas, and Magic for you and your organization. Whether you're on a comfy home sofa or on Main Street, USA at Disneyland, this experience allows you to navigate through all 9 lands to explore some 100 locations where you can find Disney insights that will inspire you and guide you and your organization. Also, check out my books from Disney Insights, Disney Leadership and You, The Wonderful World of Customer Service at Disney, and A Century of Powerful Disney Insights, The Walt and Roy Disney Years. Finally, thank you for joining us for this podcast. Know that is in the title of my organization, Performance Journeys. It's as much about the journey as it is about performance. So find the second star to the right and keep going straight on till you reach it. Follow the compass of your heart and know that with a smile, a song, little faith, effort, and pixie dust, your dreams can come true. After all, if we can dream it, we can do it. Until next time, bright suns, we'll see you real soon.